sit in my place, far away from any other. Once, it would have been foolish to name it my own, but my occupancy will threaten any order that would suggest otherwise. There will be no roads to my place, as it will come into being long after anyone would bother to arrive there. Though there are no thoroughfares that lead to it, it is itself a road. It leads only to an end, and when it's over, there is nowhere else to proceed. There shall be no words in my place. To communicate would be an act of futility. And here, I think, words passing painfully through me, how would I get there without this rhetoric? There shall be no power in my place. The devices and organisms that would benefit from being charged thus to act have been destroyed by me. And here I will sustain myself, engaging and resting in my place. It will be quiet, unimaginably so. But the birds and the mammals and the amphibians and the insects make thunderous tremblings. My thoughts are silent. Now they roar. He was a small, slight boy of 8, going on 9. Though his slender legs moved with a limber carelessness through the dense thicket, he was ensconced in a deep state of meditative concentration that his fretful face did not reveal. It was growing dark, and ever darker, as the sun settled among spidery branches for its daily rest. The air was moist and thick on his tongue and in his heaving lungs. He was following what he thought to be a path, though he could not be certain. In fact, there was little the boy could be certain of, save for his hunger. Earlier, but not much earlier, when the light of the sky forgave many of his deeper fears, he had come across a solitary cottage resting on the edge of a small clearing. The sun had made him brave, and he paused to examine the weathered structure, albeit gingerly, the thought of his prey lurking somewhere in the recesses of his attention. At some point in his approach, he noticed a figure lurking through the dirty film of a window. The form was partially hidden, or in the act of hiding, but only a shallow distance from the pane. He timidly drew closer, gathering himself low in the tall grass, careful not only to conceal his presence, but also whatever his intentions might be, though of those not even he was certain. All at once he reached an angle where the sun's light penetrated the window and fell just so upon the figure. It was a soldier, fully outfitted in equipment and uniform. He stood only but a few feet taller than the boy, though he was elevated by the foundation of the cottage, but his form was that of a man of full growth. The discrepancy filled the boy with a startling, inexplicable terror. But the boy, headstrong and perhaps a little stupid, did not flee. His resilience was rewarded with a strange but somewhat comforting revelation. The soldier was a cutout, possibly of sturdy cardboard, stationed at the window like a scarecrow or a memorial. Though the boy was relieved he remained unspotted, the soldier continued to trouble him. It was not the purpose of the cutout that was troubling. It was something else. Perhaps it was simply that he could not identify the reason for his fear. This is the perfect moment. This is the absolute truth. Look at it. Look how tidily it exists. Look how meaningful it feels. Do you see how discreetly it wavers? Do you know how sad it makes her feel? This is the perfect moment. It is complete. It knows it is complete. No one started it, so it cannot be finished. If nothing changes, will it continue to be there? Will you close your eyes? Will you close your eyes? Will you become dissatisfied if you choose to ignore it? Will you grow bored of its intricacies? This is the perfect view. Are you content? You made it all the way. Was it a fight? Did you struggle? Did you ever falter, thinking you might not reach the precipice? But you have. Realize that you are here. Every other direction is lesser. This is. Every aspect of my place is unfathomable. As I sit now and relate it to a surface, later a screen, a projection, a falsehood, an image, a going on, a passing through an empty plane, I see the distance between then and now divided parabolically, because I cannot will myself forward. I cannot throw my body past civilization any more adeptly than I can throw my own body across a field. In my dreams, I see fire. I see the energies of the world shriveled and collapse. I tremble and excite. A quick hell is not the only feasible solution to the plague that is poised to swallow up the increasingly marginalized non-elite of the world, but a fate that has been woven into the very fabric of Western society since its inception. What we see now has a temporal limit. Indeed, the ability to control energy, whether it be making wood fires or building power plants, is a prerequisite for civilization, wrote Asimov. We can only control the energies of the world for so long before they begin to control us. As Iluvatar blesses man with immortal life, we are struck by the beauty of an existence that must at one point end. It was this memory that drove him like the whip of a celestial master further and further into the woods. Whatever path he had been following was now long gone, swallowed up by either the ever-growing thick of moss and roots beneath his feet, or the inky black that now clouded the way ahead. Tiny branches scratched at his face as he flung himself onward, slick with sweat. His bare feet began to sink deeper and deeper into the loam of the forest with every step. The length of his stride widened to compensate, but it was becoming exceedingly difficult to continue at the frantic pace he desired. He stopped to catch his breath and compose himself, but only because the way left him little other choice. He was growing ever closer to some foul body of water. He could smell it. The air, already heavy with moisture, carried the scent of rotting earth, sulfur, and ammonia. The ground was beginning to slope downwards. The boy knew in his heart he was close. The bubbling terror of his chest was evidence enough of that. There was little more for him to do or ascertain where he currently stood, but he struggled to press on, a shortcoming he had previously attempted to address with his constant scrambling forward. Nevertheless, he advanced, fear accentuated by the pace of sludge. It was now pitch. In the deep dark, the boy navigated more by touch than sight, his feet making awful succulous sounds as they plummeted into the mud and were withdrawn. Gradually, his sight returned to him. Though he initially regarded it as the adjustment of his pupils, it became clear some kind of light was penetrating the forest. A sort of light not associated with any source the boy was familiar with. It was bluish, like moonlight, piercing through the dense texture of branches with the force of the sun, but emanating in far inferior quantities. It chilled the boy, though the night was warm and humid. His pace quickened as much as the forest would allow it. He was now sliding more than walking, leaning back as the increasingly slippery floor took him down, and suddenly the trees dissipated into the periphery as if they had never been. He was staring at a pond, smooth as a mirror, and more than 50 paces all around, sunken in the middle of the forest like an alien crater. The boy's eyes were peeled as he identified what he already knew to be the source of light, but was taken back by the circumstance in which he had found it in. This is the perfect moment. This is the absolute truth. Look at it. Look how tidily it exists. Look how meaningful it feels. Do you see how discreetly it wavers? Do you know how sad it makes her feel? This is the perfect moment. It is complete. It knows it is complete. No one started it, so it cannot be finished. If nothing changes, will it continue to be there? Will you close your eyes? Will you close your eyes? Will you become dissatisfied if you choose to ignore it? Will you grow bored of its intricacies? This is the perfect view. Are you content? You made it all the way? Was it a fight? Did you struggle? Did you ever falter, thinking you might not reach the precipice? But you have. Realize that you are here. Every other direction is lesser. This is overpopulation. The depletion of non-renewable resources, environmental damage, pollution, soil erosion, global warming, newly emerging viruses, and resource wars are tragic signposts. But they contain a limitless joy. They contain the hope that what we know cannot last forever and will not last forever despite our desires. It is unthinkable, preposterous, absurd, dangerous, self-fulfilling, and self-defeating. Said Malthus, famine seems to be the last, the most dreadful resource of nature. The power of population is so superior to the power of the earth to produce substance for men that the premature death must, in some shape or other, visit the human race. The vices of mankind are active and able ministers of depopulation. They are precursors in the great army of destruction and often finish the dreadful work themselves. But yet, the simultaneous pre- and post-existences of industry could continue forever. My place will be local, tribal, and solar. Once, it would have been foolish to name it my own, but there is no other force to threaten my agency. Across the lake lay a man of white, throwing the unfamiliar light through the surrounding area from every visible inch of his body. In the dark, he was so blinding that absolutely none of his human features were visible, save his silhouette. But the man of white was laying against another man, who cradled his body, one arm wrapped behind his neck, the other tucked beneath the chest. The man of white was so blinding that this other man was equally and oppositely disguised, clouded in blackness. The boy was struck by seeming to have caught his target in a position of weakness. He drew closer, slowly, not yet sure if he had been noticed. But as he moved, now being in view of the man of white, it became clear the light emanated was moving with him. The more he moved, the more clear it was. The man of white was directing all of his light straight at the boy, explaining both the distance of the light's penetration as well as the disguise of his companion. Before he had even a second to reach this new piece of unsettling information, the boy's vision, as he presumed it, was gone, replaced by only a wash of murky blue-white. Then, as if from a great distance, a shape entered his vision with remarkable speed. A terrible, magnificent eye of solid cobalt blue, ringed with luminescent scales of mikado, rust, and teal. Though he was presently unaware of his body, the boy felt himself recoil in equal parts horror and reverence. Though the blue eye was all he could see, it only seemed to draw closer to him, pressing further and further past his senses and into the experience of his conscious mind. It was dominating him so completely that all sense, memory, or thought was gone, his inner and outer self all but replaced by the immense presence of this great singular eye. He would have been scared witless if he had any wit left, or any conception of fear for that matter. Most notably, secretly, he was glad to have been seen. This is every other direction is lesser. Realize that you are here, but you have, thinking you might not reach the precipice. Did you ever falter? Did you struggle? Was it a fight? You made it all the way. Are you content? This is the perfect view. Will you grow bored of its intricacies? Will you become dissatisfied if you choose to ignore it? Will you close your eyes? Will you close your eyes?